Yo, what's happening, y'all? Welcome in, welcome in. It's a brand new day of snaps. It is January 16th, 2024. Chances are many of you listening are going through some crazy weather right now, ice and everything and whatnot, snow. So, be safe out there. Just drive slow. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you got to go somewhere, you have to go there fast. Fucking chill out. Just drive a little slow. You'll be good to go. I'm T-Bob Hebert. He is Aaron Murray. Aaron, what's up, dog?
How fast do you whip the mini van around Baton Rouge, T? Like, are you pushing the limits on that thing? Does it got a nice little horsepower to it?
I'm generally a 10 over guy.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't go over 10 over. I feel like nobody's ever gotten pulled over in the
Sub
history
10?
of planet Earth sub 10. Like if a cop pulled you over, it's like, I got you doing 7 over. You'd be like, well, what the fuck are we talking about, guy? Come on. Like, let's keep it moving. But 11 over, watch out now. Come on now. We're getting the points on license, whatnot. So no, I'm generally cruise control 10 over, 9 over if I'm feeling a little conservative sort of guy. And as always, if you're in the left lane, you got to be passing. Okay. There is no number to determine the left lane. It's the left lane operates relative to the rest of the road. So just some car talk for to start off this snaps, which we all know that you come here for the premier Jalopnik coverage. Does Jalopnik have something to do with cars?
I don't think so. It is nudge. Atlanta, cold and no snow. I wish it did snow today. I mean, if it's gonna be in the 20s, it better snow.
Jalopnik, obsessed with the culture of cars. Suck it, nerd.
There we go.
You're
the nerd. You're the nerd.
My kids have never seen snow, and it bums me out. And North Louisiana is covered right now, but South Louisiana can't get none. Best snow day memory.
Best snow day memory for me. We had a snow day in Athens, and we got back from fall break or Christmas break, and we were off the entire week. I believe some of the bars were open, so we just drank for the first week back, which was pretty awesome. Like, it was a free week. Like, all the kids were back in school because we were anticipating going back to school the next day, and then that night it just slammed Georgia with snow, and obviously we don't. Everyone always makes fun of the South, but we don't have the equipment. Like, we're not going to salt the roads. We don't have that.
No, it's the same way like California, when it rains, we make fun of them, but actually, like, they don't build their roads and buildings in a way to like drain rain. Like, they also aren't prepared for it. So it's wherever you live. Yeah.
It's wherever you live. So like, we had literally the entire week off, no workouts, no school. And it was just drink and play video games for a week and other things, obviously. And it was a blast.
Yeah. The only thing that I had like that was hurricanes were that, but for here, where everybody else would evacuate or leave, but if you played football, you had to stay, and like our dorms were super safe and all that. And so you just end up they gave us like $80 to go buy groceries with, like emergency supplies, and we immediately went and just bought just flats and flats of Natty Light. No weed. You couldn't smoke a lot at LSU. Couldn't smoke. You could only smoke there were like 2 weeks, like one at the end of the school year and one maybe around spring break. Like, LSU was fucking serious about testing, bro. It was crazy. I smoked weed every day when I was younger. I get to LSU, I have to stop, and then I immediately, the first thing I did when I got done playing football was start up again every day.
See, they tested because they know I didn't smoke, so I always got tested because that was like, okay, we are testing our starters. We're testing our starting quarterback 5 times this year. It's like, I'll be that guy. If it means that we're going to test our receivers and running backs as much, I'll take one for the team.
See, that's the dumb part, is that no, LSU's compliance was like actively trying to get people in trouble. Like, they were testing the people they thought might be doing it. They were catching you immediately when you came off of the field. No chance to trade out any piss. They were staring at your genitals as you're urinating.
That's too much.
They weren't in the room with you staring?
Not like not like they were behind me, not like looking around the corner, looking
So
at
in
my
theory, you
my
could have done
pecker.
a fake penis situation.
We could have done a fake penis, but I think we did. I think Georgia did good. At least what I'm telling myself is we did a good job of knowing who the starters were that were following the rules, and then just testing them constantly, and then leaving the degenerates to do what the hell they wanted to.
You want to know a funny story, and then we'll get into college. So, my first day in the real workplace, it was like my first day on the job. I was supposed to be selling ads or whatever at the radio station that I now work. Which ended up being a disaster because all I did was lie to my boss and say I was selling ads and like beating the street, and I was just getting high and playing horse at my friend's house. What are you gonna do? But for the first job, they told me that you may have to take a drug test, or like to get the job, eventually you got to take a drug test, right? And so I'm still in that football mindset where I'm used to, okay, they can grab me at any time during the day and tell me to take a drug test, and then they're gonna go in there with me and like they're gonna like kind of look at my dick while I'm pissing, right? And so I got my roommate the night before, who was clean, to pee in a cup, and I had purchased a fake penis with a bladder in it, where you turn the thing and it pisses. It's like a little handle that you turn. And so, first off, there was a funny moment the night before. My wife,
You still have it?
No, I don't. I gave it to somebody else to use. But my wife the night before could tell I was doing something sketchy. And so she comes into the bathroom out of nowhere, and it's me, my roommate. I've got a strap on. He's got piss in his hand. We had to explain all of that. Then the next day I'm at work, and I decided to wear the strap on underneath my work clothes. So the entire day,
to make you feel a little bit more manly.
No, I felt terrified because halfway through this company meeting, I'm like, holy shit, what if I start pissing myself? Like, what am I going to do if there's a hole in the bag, or if I accidentally hit the lever and I start pissing myself? And what, I have to act like I'm just like, oh no, sorry guys, I don't know what to do. So yeah, for an entire 8-hour workday, I had a fake penis filled with my roommate's urine strapped to my body.
It work?
No, I never even took a drug test. Like later, so when I came back to work here again, I did, but I just bought this stuff called, at that point I realized, oh wait, they can't go in the room with you. So I bought some fake pee, warmed it up with a hand warmer, and passed that way. Nice. But
do you still have the fake dick?
No, again, I gave that to a friend to pass his own drug test. And so the fake dick is somewhere out there still serving its purpose, hopefully. What if I had pissed myself in that meeting? Like, you just got to quit the job at that point, right? Like, there's not.
You just don't get up for a while. You just kind of sit there. Meeting's over. I'm good. I got some. I'm gonna work here for the rest of the day.
Yeah, no, I didn't have a table though. My legs weren't under a table. We were in like a conference room. Like, whatever. It doesn't matter. It was a shower, Greg. The fake one was a shower.
That's what I thought you were gonna ask, like, your wife walked in and was like, oh, when this about?
Okay, no, relax. It wasn't like that aggressive, okay? It wasn't too dissimilar. But the point, it did look very funny because it literally looked like I had two dicks. Just two dicks hanging down.
But she may enjoy that too, though.
Yeah. I mean, have you ever been on E-Bombs World or E-Fucked? Like, I'm pretty sure I've seen videos of guys with two dicks before. Well,
here we go.
Who knows what kind of damage we've done to the algorithm, given that this is a college football show and this is the first 10 minutes, but we will push through. So if you enjoyed this, please hit the like button, sub to the channel. 13.7. Let's go, dude. Let's go. Hell yes. Keep liking, please. All right. We got a lot to get to today. Who will Michigan hire if Jim Harbaugh leaves? Alabama with a big time hire for defensive coordinator. You got Ohio State targeting Ross Bjork to be the next AD at Ohio State. You got a USC hire I want to break down, and then we'll get to Alabama and people leaving en masse as it continues to happen. Dobby, can we make sure to link the show with the hashtag two dicks? Hashtag two dicks. Yeah, exactly. The name of the episode. Two dicks are better than one.
This is how you bring more people to the channel, not push people away.
I mean, funnily enough, Aaron, it's not unlike a conversation we literally were having right before the show started. But for today, we'll leave that alone. No, John, I have not seen this Harbaugh video. I will look this up though. Okay. Go ahead.
No, I'm always paranoid. My wife has never said anything because I don't think she watches our show. She doesn't like football. But
Yeah, neither
when
does mine.
when I posted the clip today of us talking yesterday of why I went to Georgia, and then you brought up like you went for the girls, and I kind of smirked. My wife didn't know me in college. We both went to Georgia. She didn't know me, but she does know that I was a little bit out of control. So like I do always wonder, like when stuff like that comes by, does she kind of go through like, why the fuck did I marry this clown? Like what? Just like putting back in her mind that like I was such a just complete little shit back in the day.
Yeah, but that's also why she likes you, dude. She reformed the bad boy. You know what I'm saying?
Reform the bad boy.
You're not supposed to be able to reform the bad boy, and she did. Like generally, the best friends like you can't fix them, but she actually did. So there you go. Yeah. Sherrone wins in the end. All right. Jim Harbaugh met with the Chargers yesterday. I'm kind of the mind that I thought these timings generally are like with players, at least I know it's if you meet and leave, you're probably not going to sign there. That generally like you don't leave town if you're going to end up there. Might be different coaches. I'm surprised we haven't heard any more news on this quite yet, but Jim Harbaugh meeting with the Chargers yesterday. Again, where do we go if Jim Harbaugh leaves? And we're going to discuss some names. The Athletic has a good breakdown with some names. I still really can't get past Sherrone Moore.
Yep.
And if, I mean, look at this quote. It's in the article, but this is a quote from Trevor Keegan, one of their leaders, one of their O-linemen, a 2-time Joe Moore winner. Quote, I was pretty close to leaving. The recruiting process is a dangerous thing. And he's talking about back in the day, right? Everybody tells you how good you are, that you'll start as a freshman. As an 18-year-old kid, I wasn't the most mature guy. I wasn't playing. I kind of stopped loving football. Coming into Schembechler Hall was a drag for me. Coach Moore came in and changed my whole outlook on life and football. He made me fall in love with football again. I cannot thank him enough. He's just a guy who puts his head down and works as well. He started here as a tight ends coach. Now he's an OC getting head coaching offers. Am I still here? Okay.
Yes, we still got you, T.
Okay. So whatever. That quote seems like it was a disaster technologically, but the point is everybody within the program seems to love Sherrone Moore. You saw him multiple games this season, including 2 of the most critical games, already play the role of head coach. And taking over a well-oiled machine has actually been working very well lately, right? Brian Kelly to Marcus Freeman, still got to be seen, but on the whole, Freeman's on the edge of a breakthrough, it feels. Urban Meyer to Ryan Day, unqualified success. Bowden to Fisher, national championship. Harbaugh to David Shaw, Stanford stayed good forever. Barry Alvarez to Bielema. Bob Stoops to Lincoln Riley. So like, and there are some misses, but like there's a lot of school that says that this works. So I agree.
How many of those 2 were guys that actually performed the duty ahead of time, not just like, hey, you're an assistant coach. Not many were actually given an opportunity to go out there and do. You just laid out the resume. Like we'll have to go back and look, but I don't think any one of those guys was an interim head coach that won 2 top 10 games in that season, that beat your arch rival, that beat a top 10 Penn State. So like you have shown that not only are you a Michigan man, that you've bettered that offense, but that you can perform as a head coach and go out there and execute. So I think that is even more to the resume and even more to the sense of, hey, let's just stay in house and keep a guy that our players love, that we love, that is great for our offense and also has proven that he can be a head coach. Going back to the whole scheduling thing that you talk about with, hey, he's met with an NFL team. If you leave, then probably not a good sign that he's going to be the next head coach. I would think the NFL time-wise is a little bit different than college football, because of college football, there's the portal and high school recruiting, all that. Like there's a sense of urgency. I think a lot of the NFL teams are still waiting to see how the playoffs play out. Like you may be trying to get an OCDC that makes it to the next round or the next round or to the Super Bowl, wins the Super Bowl, then you go interview that guy. Like there's no real, to me, the NFL calendar is so much. This is why the NFL calendar is so much better than the college football calendar. And college football could do wonders by studying the NFL a little bit. To and not saying like any of these decisions are rash. Not like saying that like, Kalen DeBoer was a rash decision by Alabama to go get him from Washington.
Well, it kind of is, though, in a crazy way. Again, Greg Byrne had never spoken to him.
Yes, I agree.
And Nick Saban had never spoken to him. That's kind of wild to think about.
You would like to wine and dine a little bit more, and also be able to feel like, okay, we can interview a few coaches. We can give this a week or two. So I think the NFL timeline just gives these guys more opportunity to give it, 3-4 weeks to make a decision.
Some guy says OSU has a ton of Ohio State has a ton of talent coming back. They're going to be better than Michigan in 24. Probably still lose the SEC though. We'll explore that a bit more when we talk about Ohio State, because I do want to get into that a bit. Here's my deal though. In talking to Jake Butt, talking to Joshua Perry, who went to Ohio State, and just other guys in that region, they under Jim Harbaugh, Michigan is kind of viewed a bit like Texas A&M in that they're a bit culty, right? And so what comes with a cult culture? And like, if you already have such a distinct culture and you have someone in Sherrone Moore who works within it and who everybody likes and who understands it and how to propagate it and how to continue it, why do you hit the reset button with anyone else? It just feels like you'd be asking for like if you want to hit reset button, give Sherrone Moore the chance. And if he fails, he fails. Then you can go out and you're Michigan. You'll still be able to get a big ass name, like whoever you really want. So I think they keep it in house. If they don't, how do you feel about? I'll just name the names that the Athletic has. Well, how do you feel about Lance Leipold out of Kansas?
I loved all the names on the list. I mean, my first name that I would go gravitate towards is Brian Kelly, though, at LSU. Like if Brian Kelly truly is a Midwestern man and he feels like that's where his roots are and that's where he fits in best and that's where he can recruit better.
From Connecticut.
But I think he coached in the Midwest.
Yeah, no, he did.
Yes. He mostly coached there, and obviously Notre Dame as well. It's kind of where he really built his brand at. Like that would be number one for me. And I know you probably like the other guys because they remind you a lot more of a Kalen DeBoer type coach who maybe like they haven't led a team to a playoff berth like he did this year, but came up from smaller schools, won championships at smaller schools, smaller divisions, and then have turned their relative programs. Kansas and
Brian Kelly did that too at Grand Valley State back in the day.
Yeah, he did.
Kelly, Leipold, and Kleeman are all guys that are self-made with lower level success that they've now parlayed into higher level success.
Yeah. So I would go Kelly 1, but that's how I think Kelly's a top 5 coach in college football. If you can get a top 5 coach in college football to come in and into your program, a guy that's been to a guy year one won the SEC West, a guy that's been to a national championship there at Notre Dame, a guy that's been to the playoffs. I think that's kind of hard to ignore if you could get him back to that part of the country.
It's so funny to watch this go down here locally in Baton Rouge, because when these rumors initially broke, Matt House was still employed and everybody was kind of like, nah, okay. I mean, for me, I never really engaged with it because there's so many hypotheticals and it never felt realistic, right? But even then, people are like, if he leaves, whatever. But now it's like they fired House. They hired Bo Davis for $1.5 million. They hired Blake Baker for $2.5 million. They just hired Kevin Peoples from Mizzou, who's going to be their outside linebacker and edge rushing coach. He's supposedly one of the absolute best there. $700K for him. So they spin it right now. And then you get the commitment of Harlan Berry and Bryce Underwood, number 1 running back quarterback in that 2025 class. And all of a sudden it's like, well, BK, now hold on now. You better not leave. I still don't think it's realistic at all.
What's easier to win? I know you're going to say the fact that LSU has won, their past 2 coaches have won national championships. And obviously the success early on for BK. Past three. But it still seems to me that the Big Ten is still an easier conference to dominate compared to what the SEC is. Like Michigan, like you could build Michigan, and I know it has been done, but Harbaugh finally got it to that spot right now where you're inheriting a program that's on the top of the mountain. You could keep Michigan on top of the mountain for a long time. Where LSU is, I think, is ascending there and has a chance, but now you have to go through Texas and Oklahoma and Georgia and Alabama and Tennessee's rolled and Ole Miss, and I mean, it's a lot more. It's a lot more than just taking over Michigan and being one of the top 2 teams year in and year out.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what this new age Big Ten looks like, and this is a post Saban era, of Alabama, so we'll see on that. But I probably would agree that it's easier to win at Michigan than LSU.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of maybe fighting for conference championships. I think that's probably accurate. So Brian Kelly, I wonder how Michigan fans would feel about him. Lance Leipold. Now, I think Lance Leipold is staying put in Kansas. He said that in relation to the Washington job before Jed Fish.
Michigan's a different beast than Washington, though.
No doubt. So maybe that changes. And I'm not naive, but he was the first choice on the Washington job. Ends up saying, no, I'm staying put. We all know about him, a guy with 63 national titles. Kansas had never won more than 3 games in 11 years. And he went 2-10, 6-7, now 9-4 with a top 25 finish and beating Oklahoma. Leipold will be the home run. Again, though, I just don't know why you bring him in. And then there's Chris Kleeman, who I'm guilty of. I did not realize he had 4 FCS titles in North Dakota State. And we all know what he's done at Kansas State, 10-4, Big 12 title, 9-4 this last year, really good bowl game finish, 2 consecutive top 20 finishes. So these are all guys that you know how to win championships. They know how to run programs. They're all solid candidates, but I don't see an angle for any of the outsiders over Sherrone Moore.
And I'll add this in too. I mean, when Nick Saban stepped down as the head coach of Alabama, he was a part of the decision-making of who's going to be next. And we knew that Alabama was not going to hire from within. You know, Tommy Rees was not ready to step up and be the head coach of Alabama.
Steele.
Kevin Steele. I think Kevin Steele retired before Nick Saban did, but Kevin Steele still was not going to be the guy.
I think Kevin Steele got retired by the decision makers in the middle of the season. Right? Was he no?
And he said too, like Nick Saban's the one calling the plays. But anyways, Nick had his hand in essentially dubbing Kalen DeBoer as the next head coach of Alabama. I think Harbaugh is going to have the same I would say similar power in discussions of this is who I truly believe. This is the footprint. This is how I built Michigan from where they were to a national championship team. And, you know, I've been in the NFL. I know success. I've been to a Super Bowl. Like, they're going to take his opinion on this. And it's hard for me, for a guy that said because they tried out multiple coaches during the first time that Harbaugh was suspended. Come the second go around, he said, okay, I've seen all these other guys. I want Moore to be the guy for all 3 games that I'm suspended.
Well, and also
he believes in him. He's going to put in a huge recommendation for him, I believe.
Yes, I 100% believe that. I do think with those first 4 games, they were kind of fucking around too, though, with some of their coaching, who they were naming and whatnot, because they weren't playing anybody. But to your point, like, no, when shit mattered, it was Sherrone Moore, and absolutely he is going to put in. I guess it's just like, how does the Michigan administration feel about Jim Harbaugh is a very complicated question. Where they love all the success that he brings. I think they've had a lot of friction maybe with him on a personal level at times.
No, I agree. I will say this, like, I think this is a fun, obviously, conversation to see who is and who's not. But like, if Harbaugh retires, or if Harbaugh takes the LA Rams job in an hour, it would be hard for me to think that in the next day, 24 hours after that, Sherrone Moore would be named the head coach of Michigan. I
agree.
I think it's a done deal. It may even happen sooner than that. Like, remember when Monken left to go to Baltimore from Georgia? We thought, like, okay, maybe this will be Kirby's going to bring in all these guys. It may take a little bit of time. He named Bobo like within a day, I think. Like, it was like, I already knew this was going to happen. Bobo's ready. Let's go. I think the same thing at Michigan. Moore is going to be announced pretty much immediately.
And look at how awesome that worked out. I mean, Georgia fans love Mike Bobo. I think the same thing's going to happen from Moore. If News Dude says the change of perspective is crazy in football. Not too many years ago, everyone thought Harbaugh would be fired. Prisoners of moments reign supreme. You can frame it as prisoner of the moment, and I won't be mad about that. You know, what have you done for me lately? But ultimately, Nuge, that's the best part about football is it's a meritocracy. It is earned. Like, if you win, we praise you and you are beloved. When you lose, we do not. Why is Dabo Swinney not involved in any of these conversations? Because lately he's been losing more and more, regardless of whatever winning he once did. It's like, you know, what's the current form on the pitch, if you will? And so there's value in that. Like, you have to be a bit of a prisoner of the moment when evaluating these otherwise you would hire Dabo Swinney.
Yeah.
Because you'd look at his resume and say, oh, that's the best one. All right, real quick. So we got more to cover. We'll run through some of these last things. We're going to get to Kane Womack as Alabama's defensive coordinator. Ohio State, USC, Keep it locked right here. First, message from DraftKings. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL playoffs, is bringing you an offer that'll make the playoffs electrifying. New customers can bet just $5 on any game and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code T-Bob. New customers bet just $5 to get $200 instantly in bonus bets only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code T-Bob, T-B-O-B. The crown is yours. All right. So yesterday, Alabama fans learned who their defensive coordinator was going to be, and it's an A+ hire. In my mind. They get South Alabama head coach Kane Womack. And the deal about Kane is, if you think back to 2020 when Jim Harbaugh was struggling and we all thought he sucked and should be fired, Kane Womack was one of the hottest names in coaching. He was on that Indiana Tom Allen staff that Kalen DeBoer was OC for. That's that Indiana team that was actually good. They even beat Michigan. They got Tom Allen paid a ton of money. He was a Broyles Award finalist. He was the youngest defensive coordinator in the Power 5 at the time. I mean, even now he's only 36 years old, Aaron. He's our age. So this is a guy who was awesome. Well, what happened in South Alabama? He continued to be awesome.
Yep.
They won their first bowl game in school history. This year, they won 10 games last year. Remember, they beat the dog shit out of Oklahoma State, who ended up playing in the Big 12 championship. Yeah. So here's where it gets weird for Alabama fans. They're going through the pain of now having 23 players in the portal. They've had 17 before Nick Saban. They've had an additional 6 with more to come, and that's not even getting into recruiting. So there's a lot of bad headlines in that regard. But if you were to just take any school, Aaron, and tell them that your new head coach is Kalen DeBoer, your OC's Ryan Grubb, and your DC's Kane Womack, that's a fucking big 3. Like that is a home run. Like any other school almost in the nation would be ecstatic right now about those hires. It's just that it's Alabama and it's Nick Saban and your player. So it's just a more complicated picture. But I think it's a hell of a hire.
You bring up age. I didn't realize either that Sherrone Moore is only 37 for Michigan. Yeah. Like these are some young ass coaches that you could build a lot around. I think it's a great hire for Alabama. I think especially the fact that I always love a guy that has had success as a head coach too. And I know you have, regardless of the level, regardless of the conference, you have a guy that's been a really successful DC that has led, as you talked about, the Indiana team. You now have a guy that's shown that he is the leadership component to him too, to lead an entire football team to success. I think you throw that all in together. You got a guy that you trust can handle the pressures of being the defense coordinator for Alabama. Because let's be honest with this next year, there is going to be a microscope over all of these coaches. Of course, the players, but these coaches of what is and especially the defense. Because guess what? Nick Saban in Alabama was built on defense. When Nick Saban first got there, like that was it. I mean, these were defenses, and even this year, that were giving up 9 points per year or per game to 12 points per game. Like they were dominant. Like that's Nick Saban's baby. So the focus this first year is going to be on obviously wins and losses, but what's that defense look like? Are you taking care of Nick Saban's baby? What do those DBs look like? So the fact that you got a guy that has the experience, that's had the success both as a DC and now as a head coach, gives me the confidence that he can handle what is to come there, being the DC for Alabama.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think he's fucking pumped.
Yeah.
I mean, he made Indiana lead the Big Ten in turnovers in 2020. Like he's been at South Alabama. Now you're going to give him the dogs at Alabama to work with. And yeah, like somebody like Desmond Ricks transferring out today, which, LSU fans' eyes getting the biggest dinner plates here and that, but that's okay. Alabama's going to recruit fine. They're going to have talent. Kane Womack's going to have more talent to work with than he has ever had previously. So I think if I'm an Alabama fan, I am.
Sucks for South Alabama. I mean, this is just, it goes into why we talked about yesterday. Why would a coach leave the Big 12 to go to the Big 10? Why would you leave Arizona to go to Washington? Everyone understands you need to be in one of two conferences. Even if it's leaving a head coaching position to go take a DC position, everything is heading towards SEC, Big 10, SEC, Big Ten. I have to be a part of one of these here really soon as this next iteration of college football starts. So for him to, I would say even too, yeah, like I think money wise, he probably got even more money being the DC at Alabama than he was getting as a head coach. But you got to be in one of these two leagues.
Well, yeah, I also sorry, I did the money symbol there also in terms of like, to your point, being in these two conferences, everybody makes more money. The coaches make more money, the players make more money, the schools make more money. Everybody gets more. There's more money invested from the outside. The only thing I'm worried about with Kane, y'all might want to look this up on your own. Okay. I've seen some whispers concerning like some legal troubles that he may have murdered his brother, Abel Womack. Look it up. I don't know. Look, do the research for yourself. Okay. Is it message boards post? I saw a message board that said Kane Womack killed Abel Womack and they covered it up. So you look it up yourself and you tell me whether or not you think it's true. And we'll see. Nah, come on. Don't boo me, Tommy. That was okay. That was
awful. That was awful.
No, dude, that was pretty good. That was pretty good. Huh?
Awful. That was awful.
Shit. You know what y'all should listen to? Audible. Do you ever listen to Audible, like books on tape? So they have an Audible original, The Sandman, which is it's an old comic book by Neil Gaiman, one of my favorite writers, but they redid it all in audio form, and it's one of the coolest, most interesting. It's one of the top 5 pieces of media entertainment I have ever consumed. And there's a lot of good Cain and Abel stuff in there. So check it out. The Sandman. Cannot recommend enough. 2 thumbs up. All right.
Don't everyone in the chat, don't be blowing up T-Bob. That was fucking awful. Like, let's be honest.
That was not good.
That was not good.
We're about 50-50 in the chat. It's not wholesale support. We're about 50-50. Did you think when I said legal trouble, you were a little intrigued?
I thought it was financial. I was like, oh, that's why he's going to Alabama.
I'm just starting shit rumors that Kane Womack's guilty of murder. Anyway, let's talk about maybe the biggest winner, in my opinion, in this entire offseason outside of Kirby Smart in Georgia. I think Ohio State's looking pretty damn good. I'm starting to come around. When we redo our snaps top 10, Ohio State is going to be climbing in my rankings. I mean, Quinshon Judkins is nice, but even nicer, they're retaining all of their talent.
Yeah.
They're paying all their guys to come back.
Besides Marvin Harrison Jr., I mean, they're getting everyone back. That defense.
Again,
the defense may be one of the best defense in the country.
That's the thing. And a cruel twist of fate, poor Ohio State fans, the one year they have the championship defense is the one year they don't have a quarterback that throws 40 to 50 touchdowns. Now, even if I don't believe in Will Howard myself, like I said, I believe I can understand that Ryan Day arguably deserves the benefit of the doubt with creating that elite quarterback play. And if he can get Will Howard to be the guy, well, I mean, you're probably only taking Georgia over them preseason. Like if I give you the answer that Will Howard will throw 35 to 40 touchdowns, you probably think that Ohio State's the second best team in the entire country.
They may be the best team in the country.
Yeah.
I mean, it will be hard to match because if you have that production from Will Howard with two of the best running backs in the country. I mean, you have 2 of the top 10 maybe 2 of the top 5 running backs in America on your roster, and you got receiver talent. And then if Will Howard does play that game where he's around 30 touchdowns, takes care of the football, I think you have the best team in America. I think they would have been the best team in America if they had a quarterback this year. So, like, if he does play like that, then yes, I think Ohio State is the best team in college football come next season.
And they're hiring a new athletic director. Ohio State is reportedly targeting Ross Bjork to become the school's next AD, and they're in the final stages. And guess what? Texas A&M isn't fighting it because I'm not surprised there. Here's where it gets interesting to me. And maybe nothing matters more than money. And Bjork makes sense in that regard because Ross Bjork obviously can fundraise his ass off.
Yeah.
But like Ross Bjork's resume is kind of shit. Like the Jimbo extension was a disaster. Especially the ridiculous buyout with which they're now paying Jimbo $76 million not to work, which again wasn't just an escalation of buyouts. it was a fucking nuclear jump forward. I mean, the second biggest buyout ever is like 20 million or something, and he's out here at 76. So awful there. The hiring process at A&M was clunky as fuck. He was going to hire Stoops. Apparently, I talked to Andy Staples again today. Apparently, Ross Bjork really was going to hire Mark Stoops.
And the fan base said, you're an idiot. Don't even think about it.
And he brought it to the board of directors, and they were like, "Are you fucking dumb?
Yeah.
Are you thick, boy? What do you think you're fucking doing, Ross? Get the shit out of here. Go find somebody else." And I think it worked out. Like, I think the directors are right.
Yeah.
He hired Matt Luke at Ole Miss. He had all the Hugh Freeze drama. Like, I don't know. Ross Bjork is touched by the gods because he has not had a lot of he hasn't had success in football, which is the main thing you're supposed to be good at this job. And the main
especially
thing
at Ohio State.
And he's
I get why he's leaving. I get why he's leaving. I get why he's leaving. Like I would leave A&M and go Ole Miss all day or Ohio State all day.
Yes, no, what I'm saying is
100%.
Ohio State is one of the most prestigious jobs in the country. Ohio State or D. Gene Smith's a legend. And you're going with Ross Bjork, a guy whose greatest thing is he can raise money?
It's the name of the game, baby. The name of the game.
And now, what if he gets to latch on and gets to claim a natty? Like Scott Wilbur did first year as well. Good feeling. 2024 Ohio State schedule. That all looks very winnable to me, dude. Is Ohio State the best team in the country?
Maybe. It all hinges on Will Howard.
Or Ryan Day's ability to unlock Will Howard. I'm excited to watch Will Howard closer. I haven't watched him super close. We'll see if I'll refine some of my thoughts.
I would say this, like
somebody compared him like a Josh Allen type. Would you agree with that? It's a big white guy.
He's a big white guy. I covered him once the year before.
Big white.
Covered him once the year before. I like him a lot, man. He's a big white guy, 6'5", 242. He's better than what they had. I'll tell you that. He's better than what they had this past year. So you are upgrading from what you had, which is not like that could be significant, but it's still an upgrade.
Last thought here. USC hires Rams defensive line coach Eric Henderson as co-DC. He's also going to be their D-line coach and run game coordinator. And so the USC transformation, you got North Dakota State head coach Matt Entz joined as assistant head coach and linebacker coach. You had a former Houston DC and Doug Belk join as your defensive back coach. The DC is DeAnton Lynn from UCLA, who was very good last year. And the only reason I bring all this up, Aaron, I know you got to go in a minute, so we're going to get out of here, but is the fact that how interesting now is this LSU USC matchup in Vegas, or you have two teams whose defenses were fucking awful, who have now done multiple big name hires, try to rebuild those defenses. You had two teams whose offenses were awesome, but who just both lost their Heisman winners. And you have two coaches in Brian Kelly and Lincoln Riley who really, really, really need this win. So who's going to get that defensive transformation more correct? That's going to be fascinating.
LSU, because at least LSU has the personnel.
Well, not on the D line yet, though. No, they got two interior defensive linemen on roster right now. But I feel you, Bear Alexander, leave USC and come to LSU. Dude. Come on, dude. What are you doing?
Can't. Actually, you can.
You can, bro. Everybody can. That's why all this talk of Deion can't leave Travis and Shadur. Yeah, he can because he doesn't have to leave him. They could come with him wherever he wanted to go.
Deion to Michigan.
Deion to Michigan. Yes. From Harbaugh to Deion, there will in no way be a weird cultural butting of heads there at all. I think that'll go very smoothly. All right. Hey, huge thank you to everyone watching us right now. Please hit the like button, dude. Subscribe to the channel. I believe Nightcap with Unc and Ocho's up to like almost 1 million subscribers. So we're right on the heels, boys.
Come on, boys.
We're right on the heels, guys. So if you could please sub to the channel, it's a massive help. And we love you. Thank you so much. A huge thank you to Pat Gunther, Ryan Brumley, Chris Strand, Danny Carnes, everybody else. As Pat points out, we're only 986,000 away. Like, it's not that far. You know what I really want? I've started a lot of YouTube channels in my various jobs, and they float around like 20 something K, but I feel like some of those other ones have kind of maxed out. And I don't know how long this out, but I want 100K. I want to get that plaque. I want one of those. I watch so much fucking YouTube, and everybody's got the plaque, and I want one of them things. So thank you all so much for being a part of this journey, and please help us get there if you enjoy the show, obviously. So we love you. Thank you, and we'll see you tomorrow for a brand new episode of Snaps.